Hello, and I'm here in my B&B in Rush near Dublin, and this weekend we have a weekend of trance mediumship, which I'm really enjoying. And it occurred to me that there are an awful lot of terms used within our work, whether it's developing mediumship, whether it's trance, whether it's healing, whether it's meditation. And it would be a good idea just to talk about that, because one of the exercises that the students did this weekend was to actually be inspired, to be spiritually inspired whilst in trance, about what was required for trance, what they needed to do, what as a rule, as a group, as students, we're all students, me included, what we all need to do. And so there were a lot of terms like trust, surrender, patience, persistence, faith. And it occurred to me that a lot of terms that we use within this particular work, we say, and we don't really explain. So I thought I'd address some of them. And trust, how we go about trusting. Trusting's not always easy. Now, when we're talking about spiritual work, we're often talking about working with an invisible intelligence, and it's pretty hard to just simply trust something. So if you start to think about it, you think this is an intelligence that is not doing any harm, cannot harm you, you're working with a powerful, positive intention. So there's no reason why you shouldn't trust it. And if you didn't trust it, then you probably shouldn't be doing this kind of development work. So trust is a funny one. And of course, some of us have, for various reasons, difficulties with trust. Difficulties with trusting other human beings, with perhaps even trusting animals, perhaps even trusting ourselves. So that's something that has to be worked on a very personal level and will, of course, relate quite directly to your relationship with spirit. The other term I wanted to talk to you about was holding space. And holding space is something that I've been very much advocating for quite a few years now. Now, holding space, and I do have actually an entire exercise on holding space for spirit, but holding space is about creating that sense like you would have with a good friend. And with a good friend where you could sit for a significant amount of time and you don't have to speak. And you're just in that moment. Both of you are sharing a moment and there's no expectation. You don't have to talk. It's not awkward. It's about pure harmony in that moment. And you're just allowing, if you like, if you're giving permission for the moment to be the moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment, and then the next moment, with no expectation. And when you hold the space, it's a very lovely place to be. The other term I wanted to talk to you a little bit about was surrender, and that is a term I've also been using for quite a few years within trance mediumship. And I think it's very important that we discuss exactly what surrender is. So surrender is actually linked to trust. If you don't trust, you're not going to be able to surrender. And surrendering is about control as well. Now, in trance mediumship, we talk about the intelligence that works with us as being the control. What does that mean? It's not a good word, is it, control? We don't like the word control. So we tend to think of control as being controlled. But in trance, we're talking about something a little bit different. What we're actually talking about is we're not controlling the intelligent phenomena that occurs, that there is actually another intelligence that is the boss. So that's where the term control comes from. The phenomena is not controlled by our mind, because trance is mental mediumship. It's controlled by the intelligence of spirit that has blended, that has harmonized, and that we have surrendered to and trusted to do what they need to do. So how do you actually surrender? That's the big one. A lot of people just say to you, now surrender. Now you think, yeah, okay, I surrender. But how do you actually do it? Well, it's actually quite straightforward. Now, one of the things I teach is mindfulness meditation, and mindfulness is about total awareness. So when you're at that point of surrender, instead of just saying, I surrender and hoping for the best, you are actually better to actually do something and start to think about your safety and security. So, okay, I'm about to surrender to spirit. It's not natural to surrender to the whole control, my whole fight or flight response to my security net. It's not normal to surrender all that to something that's invisible and that I've got no control over. But you can. And the way to do it that I find the best is by using one of the mindfulness exercises that I teach. And it's about, again, it's about trust. So you're sat on a chair. Think about that. Think about how safe and secure you feel on that chair. Is that chair strong? Is it supporting you? Are you comfortable? If the answer is yes, think about where you are. Is where I am sat and doing this exercise safe and secure? Is the chair on a solid floor? Yeah. Okay. What about the building? Is the building solid? Do I feel safe in this building? If you're in a public building, you know, are there exits if I need to get out quickly? If the answer to all that is yes, then you can relax. You're in a safe place. Am I doing this? If you're working alone, that's a different matter. And you obviously feel safe and you've set the room up to exactly how you need it to be. But if you're in a group situation and you have a leader of the group, a circle leader, or you have a teacher, do you trust that teacher? Do you trust that if anything happens in this room or anything happens to me, that teacher is going to come and help? If the answer is yes, you've got trust. So we've got trust of yourself. We've got where you are and who you're with is fine. We've got trust of the environment, the building, the chair, everything is fine. So what you can do then is take it into the surrender when you have reassured yourself. You've done all these checks. And in these checks, you feel totally safe and secure. You can say, okay, I relinquish that control. Take me into the trance or whatever it is that you need to surrender to. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about those terms because, well, for some people are coming to me and saying, well, yeah, I keep being told trust, I keep being told surrender, I keep being told hold the space. But I'm not actually having it explained to me what holding the space is, or surrender, or trust. And so I just wanted to explain how we can actually work with that. Now, the other thing I do want to come to before I finish on holding space is that it's actually a term that has been brought to us by the field of palliative care. And if any of you and many of us have had the experience of hospice care for someone we care about, someone we love, one of the things, if you've been in most hospices, is the nurses and the staff are all trained to just hold the space for the person who is sick and for you. So there is this sense almost of discretion, and there's a sense that you can be who you want to be, that nothing is a crazy request, that if you need something, it's not going to be laughed at, it's going to be, okay, let's see how we can do it and create the space for it to happen. It's also in the field of palliative care, and you can Google this and look up what holding space is truly all about, because I don't want to hijack the term, and I don't think teachers of mediumship should hijack the term without really knowing what it's about. It is also about being a container for emotion and creating a safe environment for there to be whatever emotion there needs to be. So I would recommend on holding space you actually look up the term, and you look up the term in where it really originates from regarding palliative care. And then when you bring it into your spiritual work, when you bring it into the mediumship, when you bring it into the trance, when you bring it into just working with healing or any form of spirit communication or phenomena, when you're holding space, you're creating that safe container of emotion. You're creating that safe environment where nothing is crazy and ridiculous, and you can be totally who you need to be. And certainly if you're working with the spirit world, the same applies to them. Yeah, there's no expectation. It is just pure, true, raw, honest beingness. So I hope that helps with a little bit. These terms are very easy to say, not always so easy to understand, and where their origin is from. And I look forward to the next time. So from my B&B in Rush near Dublin, which is very, very nice, bye for now.